No.
Missy, do we have the Butler County or the Greenwood County Jail ready?
Yes, they're on here.
If they want to start their screen.
We're here, Judge.
Is this Mr. Brockett at the jail?
Yes, ma'am.
Very well. We are ready to go on the record. We are at this time on the record in the 13th Judicial District, Greenwood County, Kansas. Starting with case number 2022 CR 44, State of Kansas versus Tyler James Brockett, with Ms. Jill Gillette, Greenwood County Attorney, appearing for the state, Mr. Brockett appearing in person, in custody, and pro se. Mr. Brockett, you are here, sir, on a warrant to show cause why your probation should not be revoked. The state is alleging that you have violated certain conditions of your probation.
Yes, ma'am.
Give me just one moment, please. On June 12th of this year, 2023, a motion to revoke probation was filed, in which it is alleged that you failed to report to intensive supervision as required, that you left the state of Kansas without permission, apparently calling your ISO, saying that you were in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. You were supposed to have been in some type of outreach program that you allegedly left, not telling your probation officer where you went. and that you had failed thereafter to contact your ISO, intensive supervision. So those are the allegations against you, sir. We will set this back on Judge Ricky, the sentencing judge's docket, August 3rd, 2023 at 1 p.m. You must be present in the courthouse for that hearing. Judge Ricky has already set your bond at $15,000 cash or surety. That will remain your bond. And are you going to hire an attorney or reapply for court appointed, sir?
Court appointed.
Are you employed at this time?
No, I'm not.
How long have you been employed?
I'm not, Your Honor.
But for how long have you been without a job?
For about a year and a half.
You don't have any money to use to pay for an attorney?
No, I don't, Your Honor, or I would bond out.
All right, I will reassign Attorney Joseph Favre. I understand he will take your case. So make sure you contact Mr. Favre well in advance of your August 3rd hearing.
Okay.
So you have your hearing date, you have your attorney, you have your bond. Ms. Gillette, is there anything else we need to address?
I can't think of anything.
Mr. Brockett, anything else we need to address from your vantage?
Just that I'd like to ask if I could get an OR bond.
And I can appreciate that, but this is Judge Ricky's case. He did set the bond, and I will leave it as he said it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. You are excused at this time.
Judge, can you repeat the time on 8/3?
Yes, 8/3 at 1 p.m.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. And Deputy, please make sure on the bond, he knows to reappear in person at the courthouse.
Okay.
Thank you.
You want me to join full screen?
No.
Good afternoon, sir, at the county jail. What is your name, please? Sir, can you tell me your name? I wasn't able to hear you.
Aubrey Owens Jr.
Thank you. Are on the record in 2023 CR 1311, State of Kansas versus Aubrey L. Owens Jr. The state appears by and through Ms. Jill Gillette, Greenwood County Attorney. Mr. Owens appears in person, in custody, and pro se. Mr. Owens, this is your first appearance. You have 2 counts before the court. Count 1 is disorderly conduct in which the state alleges that on or about June 27, 2023, in Greenwood County, Kansas, you did unlawfully and intentionally use fighting words or engage in noisy conduct, tending reasonably to arouse either alarm or anger or resentment in others, to wit a Mary Owens. This is, as charged, a Class C misdemeanor. The sentence could be up to 30 days in the county jail and a $500 fine. In count 2, you're accused of assault. On that date, and in Greenwood County, you did unlawfully and knowingly place another person, to wit Mary Owens, in reasonable apprehension of immediate bodily harm, to wit balling up your fist and hitting items. This also is a Class C misdemeanor. If convicted, you could serve another 30 days in the county jail, and you could pay another fine up to $1,000. These, sir, are the charges against you. Have you any questions at this time?
No, ma'am.
All right, are you going to be hiring an attorney, applying for court appointed, or representing yourself? And I will tell you that the county attorney offers a diversion program, but you do have to be eligible, apply, and qualify for that. They look at the charges against you and your record. Do you have much of a recent record to speak of?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Gillette, do you know just from what's preliminarily available if he's eligible?
Not sure, Judge. I have to look.
All right. Mr. Owens, is that something you want to look into? The diversion, you would do certain things they want you to do, pay a fine, cost, maybe diversion fee, maybe take some kind of anger evaluation or something. But if you
Yes,
did what
ma'am.
they said, they would dismiss the charges, but you have to qualify. Do you want to look into it?
Yes.
All right. So while you're in custody there, make sure that you get an application for diversion. And Missy, when do you want him to appear?
How about August 1st at 3:30?
August 1st at 3:30. You'll need to be back here at that time unless you've been accepted onto the diversion program. But you have to apply, and then if you have to see if you're approved. And if you're approved, they will send you a contract to sign and return. And there's a fee that goes with the application and a fee that goes with the contract. So get that started right now if that's what you want to do. Don't wait until that August 1st date.
Okay.
All right. And you'll get that application from the county attorney. Recommendations on bond, Ms. Gillette?
Judge, these are just misdemeanors. So I recommend 2,500 cash surety.
Mr. Owens, where do you live? What town?
In Jamaica. I have the money, but my payee is my mother.
All right. Is she the alleged victim?
Yes.
Okay. So you're on disability?
Yes.
And do you live with your mother?
Excuse me?
Do you live with your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, normally we have no contact orders with the alleged victim. Ms. Gillette, are you seeking that in this case?
Judge, I think he probably needs some kind of counseling before he has contact with his mother.
Ma'am, I just got off. I'm in counseling.
Okay.
I see cross friends regularly.
If you don't go home to your mother's, where will you be? Where will you
Right
be?
across the street from here, really.
That's
at a
your
friend's
mother's house?
At a friend's house.
A friend. Okay, so you do have a friend to stay with?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any chance that I could OR, Your Honor?
I am going to give you a $2,500 OR bond with the condition that you have no contact with your mother, except if you need to get funds out of your account to apply for this diversion. I want you to take an officer with you if you can get one to go with you to keep the peace.
Okay.
I don't want you being around your mother alone, and I want the officer there to make sure you don't misbehave
Okay.
or get accused of misbehaving. Because I assume that's what you're going to have to do is go to her as your payee and ask for the money you need to apply for this diversion.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said you're in counseling. When you get out, I want you to immediately contact your therapist and see if you can get in for a therapy session.
Okay. She's here now.
She's at the jail?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you do what she says to do on that issue of mental health.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anything else we need to take up?
Not that I think.
Okay, Ms. Gillette, anything further?
Judge, I don't think so.
All right. And sir, I'm going to appoint an attorney for you, Shannon
Okay.
Cooper. They'll have your cards there. So contact Ms. Cooper, get the diversion application filled out, but before you turn it in, you talk to Ms. Cooper about it.
Okay.
Right. I hope that appointing the attorney makes this easier, but doesn't complicate it, so.
All right.
All right. You may go at this time, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it Turner? Turner.
Good afternoon, sir. At the county jail, your name is?
Nicholas Tanner.
We are here today on 3 cases for Mr. Tanner. On the record in 23 CR 1, 23 CR 48, 23 CR 142. Mr. Tanner appears in person, in custody, and pro se. The state appears by and through Greenwood County Attorney Jill Gillette. Mr. Tanner, on 23 CR 1, you failed to appear. You failed to appear for your pretrial conference.
Judge, this is bond revocation, I believe.
So he was arrested not for failing to appear, but for violating bond? Or you're saying the charge is violation of a protection order?
He has a new case, Judge, that is
Well,
20
let's, hang on. Okay, but on this case, Ms. Gillette, he has a jury trial set, it looks like already for August 22nd and a pretrial at August 17th, correct?
yes. So
Um,
Mr. Tanner's on an ankle monitor, and that's something that you put on him because this is a felony domestic battery, 3rd or subsequent, along with disorderly conduct. And he was back over at the victim's house and picked up the second case number 23 CR 48, because he was going back over to where his victim was. In the meantime, he's had multiple reports, and I even forgot one in the motion of failures to comply with his GPS monitor. And so we just got another report of dead batteries on the GPS. That was a significant list of things he has not been doing. So we put them all in a motion. And so he is currently not complying with his GPS. So we asked for a warrant, filed a motion, and the judge approved a warrant for failure to comply with his bond conditions, not keeping his GPS on. He's disappearing for hours up to days at a time.
Okay. Well, let's start with the first appearance then on the newest of the 3 cases. In 2023 CR 142, Mr. Tanner, you're accused of giving a worthless check. That is a charge that alleges that on or about the 13th day of May in 2023 in Greenwood County, Kansas, you issued a worthless check by making, drawing, issuing, or delivering a check, order and draft on a bank, credit union, savings and loan association, or depository for the payment of money or its equivalent with the intent to defraud and knowing at the time of the making, drawing, issuing, or delivering of such writing that the maker or drawer had no deposits or credits with the drawee for the payment of such check, order, or draft in full upon its presentation, specifically delivering check number 1061 drawn on the home bank and trust account to G&W Foods in the amount of $308.75. As charged, this would be a Class A non-person misdemeanor. And that means that if you were convicted, the maximum possible penalties could be up to a year in the county jail and a fine up to $2,500. Do you have any questions, Mr. Tanner, about the charge or the possible penalty?
I don't have any questions, Your Honor. I have the money to pay that. Honestly, just forgot about it. I just finished paying off my bank account for the negative fees for that.
All right, well, who's your attorney in the other two cases?
Ambrose.
I don't know if he will take this misdemeanor or not. Do you want an attorney to represent you in this count, sir?
I assume, yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going, your circumstances financially have not changed since Ambrose was appointed?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to appoint Attorney Shannon Cooper. And talk to her about the best way to take care of this case. What to do about the money you have. Don't get rid of it. Don't lose it. So Shannon Cooper, and when are we going to set this, Missy?
Let's set this August 8th at 3:30.
This will be set August 8th at 3:30. Please contact Miss Cooper. The jail will have her number on their card. Make sure you contact her before August 8th at 3:30. You do need to be back here before me by Zoom, August 8th at 3:30. Now then, you are set in pretrial and jury trial on the other cases. You've indicated your attorney is Christopher Ambrose, and I have confirmed that. It looks like your reasoning for being here today is not because you failed to appear, but because the state is alleging that you have been violating the conditions of your bond, which require you to stay away from the alleged victim. The allegations are that you continue to have a dead battery on your GPS monitor. And it is required, Mr. Tanner, that you keep that battery charged at all times. Now, I'm curious, I see that I signed off on that warrant, but typically those go to the judge handling the case, and I would not be the judge in the felony case. That looks like, Missy, who is that? Judge Crum?
I think so. Let me pull it back up.
Yes, Judge Crum has the felony case.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Tanner, why can't you keep that battery charged?
My charger. So I did get in trouble back in May.
Yes.
And I did do a way better job. I contacted Green Feather. My charger wasn't working.
Mhm.
I contacted them when it was blinking red, and then it did die. And after a day or two, I actually took my knife and cut out the bad spot in the charger and spliced it together because they said I could buy it for $30 and fixed it. And that's why I came back online. I needed a good charger, and I didn't hear back from Green Feather. And that's why I was able to get my ankle monitor to even charge in the first place.
Well, that monitor is on to satisfy the court's concerns. You didn't have any authority to contact Green Feather and cut your bracelet off.
No, ma'am. I didn't cut my bracelet off. The charger that charges it wasn't working. It had a bad spot in the charger.
Well, do you understand that the monitor is what allows you to be free and out of jail?
Yes, ma'am. That's why I wanted to fix my charger.
What is the state's recommendation on this issue of bond, Ms. Gillette?
Well, Judge, I forgot to list the February violation where he didn't keep it on and charged in February. But this is not a one-time thing. This is multiple times. And so he had 9 dead batteries in May over the course from May 1st to May 18th. Some of those for over a day. And then he had a second report for June 23rd and 24th. And so he was off for more than 24 hours then. Then we received another report from June 29th from 7 a.m. till 2:34 p.m. And then there was also one back when he first got it. So this isn't a one-time thing. This isn't a one-time charger issue. This is a failure of the defendant to keep his bracelet on. These are serious allegations. It's felony domestic battery. So I would like him to have to be before Judge Crum. Judge Crum had admonished him. Mr. Ambrose had admonished him. I had brought it up on numerous court hearings, and Judge Crum had told him no further issues with the ankle monitor will be tolerated at his hearing May 25th. Since then, had more issues. So Frank, I
Okay,
will
go
need
ahead.
custody till he sees Judge Crum, and his next hearing date is August 17th.
I would like to have him see Judge Crum on the bond revocation before that date, if that's possible. As I said, when I approved that bond, I didn't realize the case had already gone on to Judge Crum, or I would have asked Judge Crum to address whether the warrant should issue or not. So I do want Judge Crum to look at the matter. And so Missy, I'm going to need a date for him to get in front of Judge Crum as soon as possible for a bond revocation hearing that his attorney can attend with him. Is there any way we can do that much, much sooner, like maybe in the next, 24, 48 hours, something like that?
I'll have to message his AA because I don't have control of their calendar.
All right,
But I can do that and CC his attorney in it.
that would be good, that I signed that, not really realizing the case had gone on to Judge Crum, and I'd like for Judge Crum to look at that as soon as possible.
We have court next week with Judge Crum as well. So
On this case?
not specifically on this case, but Judge Crum's days for Greenwood and Elk are next week.
Okay. Well, for right now, Mr. Tanner, I've given you the dates, but in the meantime, my assistant Missy is going to try to get you a bond hearing in front of Judge Crum so he can hear the allegations, your attorney can respond to them, and see whether or not Judge Crum thinks you should stay incarcerated or if the bond should be reinstated with new conditions or whatever the situation might be. And they'll let you know the new date. And so you can't make bond right now, but because of the allegations, but as soon as we can get you in front of the judge, we'll do that.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tanner. You're excused from these hearings at this time.
This chair.
Hello, sir. What is your name there at the county jail?
William Connor.
We are on the record in case number 2023 CR 134, State of Kansas versus William Ellis Connor. The state appears by and through Jill Gillette, County Attorney. Mr. Connor appears in person, in custody, and pro se. Mr. Connor, in count one, the state is accusing you with the unlawful felonious possession of methamphetamine. This is a level 5 drug felony, which means that if you were to be convicted, and depending upon your criminal history, you could serve anywhere from 10 to 42 months in the Kansas Department of Corrections, and you could pay a fine up to $100,000. In count two, the state is alleging that on the same day as your possession of marijuana, June 28, 2023, in Greenwood County, Kansas, you also possessed an hallucinogenic drug, marijuana. And that is a Class B non-person misdemeanor for a first offense. That means if convicted, you could serve 6 months in the county jail where you are now, and you could pay a fine up to $1,000. Then in count three, the state is alleging that you possessed smoking pipes, scales, and straw pieces with the intent to use them to store, contain, conceal, inject, ingest, inhale, or otherwise introduce controlled substances into the human body. This charge is called unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia, also a Class B non-person misdemeanor. And if convicted, you could serve up to 6 months in the county jail for this charge and pay another fine of up to $1,000. Mr. Connor, do you have any questions about your charges or their penalties?
No, ma'am.
Do you intend to hire an attorney or apply for court appointed?
I will apply for court appointed.
I'll need to ask you some questions to make sure you qualify, starting with, are you employed at this time?
No, I've been actively looking for employment
And how long have you been unemployed?
since January.
Do you have any income at all?
I've been trying to get unemployment, but it's kind of hard to deal with that system. I've been filing every week, but I had a phone interview a couple weeks ago, and it has to depend on what they have to do their investigation and approve me or not.
All right. And are you married or single?
Engaged.
Okay. Does that mean you go habitate together or not? You live together?
Yes.
And is the person you're engaged to employed?
No, she's filing for disability.
Okay. I will appoint an attorney to represent you. I can't tell you who that will be right now, but my assistant Missy can later in the week.
Okay.
And once you get the name and the contact information, please do contact that attorney
Yes, ma'am.
as soon as possible. And be ready for your next hearing, which is what we call a preliminary hearing. Control, Missy, when will that be?
August 4th at 1:30.
You'll need to, thank you. You'll need to be back here, sir, August 4th at 1:30 by Zoom with your attorney. And we need to address your bond. Ms. Gillette, recommendations for bond?
Judge will also be dealing with a traffic case he picked up the day before these charges. So, He now has 2 cases in
All
front.
right, well, let's conclude this one and then I'll pick that one up. When, or what do you recommend on his bond?
Judge, my recommendation is 5,000 cash surety.
Mr. Connor, do you live in the county here?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I will set the bond at $5,000 cash or professional surety required. And then we will take up, as Ms. Gillette suggested, 2023 TR 616, also captioned State of Kansas versus William Ellis Collins. Okay. And count 1, you're accused of operating a motor vehicle in Greenwood County on June 27, 2023, at a time when you were in violation of restrictions on your license. That is an unclassified misdemeanor. Your fine could be up to $500 and your sentence could be up to 30 days. In count 2, displaying a license plate not belonging to the vehicle. That is a misdemeanor that has a fine up to $2,500 and a sentence of 30 days up to 6 months. On count 3, they're saying that the registration on that license plate that was unlawfully on your vehicle was apparently expired. Also, the same penalty as the unclassified misdemeanor in count 2, a sentence of 30 days to 6 months and a fine up to $2,500. And then in count 4, they're saying the vehicle you were driving on that date of June 27, 23 in Greenwood County, Kansas, did not have liability insurance, or at least you weren't able to provide proof. That is a fine of anywhere from $300 to $1,000 and a sentence up to 6 months. Mr. Connor, do you have any questions about the charges or the possible penalties?
No, ma'am.
And do you intend to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself?
I would also maybe just ask the court appointed attorney I got for the other case about it. If that's a possibility, I don't know, but I would apply for court appointed.
I will appoint an attorney for you, but in this case, I will appoint Shannon Cooper. She handles the misdemeanors for us. And the jail will have a card for her. Please contact her and be ready for your next hearing. And Missy, when will that be?
We want to set this on a traffic day?
I think so. Ms. Gillette, is
Okay.
that all right with you?
I don't care if it's on a traffic day or set with the same as his felony. If he has the same attorney in both cases, it would make it easier.
Well,
Well,
Shannon won't be here August 4th.
Let's
So-
put them, okay, I still have the felony for now. So let's keep them on the same date, Missy, since I don't have to put one in front of a different judge. Yeah, August 4th at 1:30. You want to go ahead and do that?
Well, Shannon won't be here that day.
Well, let's see if whoever you get will take them both.
Okay.
All right, so we will try to get you the same attorney, Mr. Connor, and you will need to be back here with that attorney August 4th at 1:30 by Zoom. Any questions about any of that?
No, Your Honor.
And I'm going to set your bond on this case at $1,000, cash or surety required. All right, we'll be in recess at this time. You may go, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's not, I don't get a lot of anyway though.
No.
Back there.
Unless you bond out. Hey, Ray.
Hold on, give me 1 second. Hello, sir. What is your name there at the Greenwood County Jail?
Adam Ray. Adam Ray.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ray. We are on the record in 2023 CR 132. The state of Kansas appears by Jill Gillette, Greenwood County Attorney. The defendant, Mr. Ray, appears in person, in custody. And pro se, Mr. Ray, you are charged with, looks like 5 counts, and this is your legal first appearance on those counts. In count 1, you are accused of sexual exploitation of a child. The state is alleging in this count that on or about June 28, 2023 in Greenwood County, Kansas, you did then and there, contrary to the statutes of the state of Kansas, unlawfully and knowingly possess visual depictions of a child under the age of 18 years, or did engage in sexually explicit conduct with intent to arouse or satisfy the sexual desires or appeal to the prurient interests of yourself. And they cite a file number ending in 2E22. This is charged as a level 5 person felony. That means that if you were to be convicted, your sentence, depending on your criminal history, if any, could be from 31 months up to 136 months in the Kansas Department of Corrections, commonly known as prison. And you could be faced with a fine of up to $300,000. In count 2, you are accused of sexual exploitation of a child. The state is alleging that on that same date, June 28, 2023 in Greenwood County, you did again unlawfully and knowingly possess visual depiction of a child under the age of 18 years of age, shown or heard engaging in sexually explicit conduct with the intent to arouse or satisfy the sexual desires or appeal to the prurient interests of yourself, with a file ending in F3CC, and the victim under 14 years of age, approximately 2 or less years old. This is charged as a level 5 person felony. Again, the sentence could be an additional 31 to 136 months and another $300,000 fine. In count 3, you're accused of sexual exploitation on that same date in Greenwood County. Again, unlawfully and knowingly possessing visual depictions of a child under the age of 18 years of age, shown or heard engaging in sexually explicit conduct with the intent to arouse or satisfy the sexual desires or appeal to the prurient interests of yourself, with the victim under 14 years of age, approximately 2 or less years of age, to be specific, and the file ending in F80CD, another level 5 person felony, meaning you could serve another 31 to 136 months in prison and pay another fine up to $300,000. In count 4, you're accused of sexual exploitation of a child on or about that same date in Greenwood County. Unlawfully and knowingly possess visual depictions of a child under the age of 18 years of age, shown or heard engaging in sexually explicit conduct with the intent to arouse or satisfy the sexual desires or appeal to the prurient interests of yourself with a victim between the age of 14 and 17 years. This file ending in B56333. Another level 5 person felony, meaning you could serve another 31 to 136 months in prison and pay another fine up to $300,000. In count number 5, you're accused of aggravated internet trading in child pornography. This charge alleges that on or about June 28, 2023 in Greenwood County, Kansas, you did then and there, contrary to the statutes of the state of Kansas, unlawfully and knowingly cause or permit by visual performance to be viewed by use of an electronic device connected to the internet by a person other than yourself or a person depicted in the performance, to wit, trading child pornography. This is charged as an off-grid felony. That means that you could serve a sentence with the Kansas Department of Corrections without the eligibility of probation or parole. In other words, a life sentence. Do you have any questions, sir, about the charges that have been filed against you or the penalties?
No.
And do you intend to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself?
Can I apply for a court appointed attorney?
Certainly, I need to ask you some questions to see if you qualify. Are you employed at this time, sir?
I'm sure that I've been fired.
Okay, where did you work?
Simmons Pet Food.
And how long had you been with Simmons?
About 2 years.
Now, you say you're sure you've been fired. Has someone told you that, or is there some reason to believe they won't take you back?
I'm pretty sure I don't have the points available to continue to work there, because we work on a point system and you get a point for not being there. And I think you have a bunch more for no call, no shows.
So you didn't call your employer to let him know you were unavailable while you were in custody?
The police officer said he was going to call and tell them.
All right, are you married or single?
Single.
Do you have any money in savings?
I have very little.
And what would very little mean?
Maybe 500.
Do you own a home or pay rent? Or
I was renting, but I had to get my stuff out.
what does that mean? You had to get yourself out?
The landlord evicted me. And
Because of these charges or before these charges?
after these charges.
All right, I will appoint an attorney to represent you, Mr. Ray. I can't tell you who it will be. My assistant Missy will do some checking to make sure she gets an attorney that is suited to represent your case and that you can work with. And she'll let you know by the end of this week who that is and how to get a hold of the attorney.
Okay.
So we will set your hearing for a preliminary hearing. We'll set it for status until you and your attorney have talked and decide if you want an evidentiary hearing or not. Missy, when will that be?
August 4th at 1:30.
So you and your attorney will be back here by Zoom before me, August 4th at 1:30. And that leaves us on the issue of bond. Ms. Gillette, what is the state's position on bond?
Judge, we'd ask for a substantial bond. we actually have already filed an amended complaint, and you read the counts in the original complaint, but count 1 was amended to age 8 to 14 years of age, and count 4 was amended to 8 to 14 years of age. We literally just picked 4 of the child porn video images when there are hundreds on the electronic devices belonging to this individual. So we would ask for a bond of about $150,000.
I do recall reading the affidavit that gave rise to the search warrant, so I am familiar with the concerns of the state.
His bond is currently $124,000.
It's at 124 now, and you're asking it be 150,000?
$624,000.
Oh, okay, 624 now, and you're asking that it be 150,000. Is that right, Ms. Gillette?
That's correct, Judge.
All right. So as I understand it, Mr. Ray, you don't know where you're going to go, if you're bonded or not.
I'm pretty sure I could stay at my father's,
Where does he live?
in the country in Hamilton, Kansas.
All right. Does he have any criminal record?
No,
Is he employed, retired?
retired.
What did he retire from?
He was a fire sprinkler outfitter.
Okay. All right, I will modify your bond, reducing it from $640,000 to $150,000. But deputy, all of those conditions I placed on the warrant will remain. If you see those, basically, the bond must be cash or professional surety. Sir, I want you to make sure you understand all these conditions. You are to have, while you're on bond, no contact of any kind with persons 17 years of age or younger. No contact with the internet. I'm going to even restrict you from cell phones if they have internet, or any other device capable of depicting children in sexual or other sexual content or other depictions or adult sexual acts. No pornography, basically. No adult pornography, no child pornography, no materials depicting nudity. And I'm not just limiting it to children. I want you to change. If this is your frame of mind, I want it changed. Don't have any contact with anyone involved in the exploitation of children or contact with adults who resemble children in physical stature. No contact with devices that depict child voices. Don't go about places where children could be found. Stay away from parks, swimming pools, that sort of place. No contact with any of the alleged victims, whether identified or not. No contact with any co-defendants. And I want electronic monitoring and bond supervision by court services. That means you'll need to report to them probably weekly and follow any directions they give you. But I'm really putting a lot of conditions on here, Mr. Ray, but you've got some very heavy duty charges against you that suggest you could be a real threat to the community, especially the vulnerable children. And the fact that you don't have a job or a residence suggests that in light of those factors, plus the charges against you, you could be a flight risk too. So Deputy, do you have the list on the warrant of the bond conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. Any questions about that, Mr. Ray?
No.
All right. Anything further, Ms. Gillette?
Not from the state, Judge. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, you may go at this time, Mr. Ray.
And Your Honor, just to confirm, the next hearing is August 4th of 23 at 1:30.
That is correct. And Missy, my assistant, will have his attorney for him and the contact information by the end of the week.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Ray, you're excused and remanded to the custody of the sheriff there. All right, sir, what is your name, please?
Terry Immel.
Terry Emmel, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are here in 2020 CR 181. This case is represented by Ms. Jill Gillette on behalf of the state, and Terry Lee Emmel appears in person, in custody and pro se. You're here, sir, on a warrant to show cause why your probation should not be revoked. Your sentencing judge, Judge Hart, ordered that you be brought in on the warrant to show cause. Looks like you're supposed to have been here previously in May and failed to appear. So most likely you've been advised of the allegations against you, but I will go over those again. Ms. Gillette, it looks like this goes back to a warrant issued, is it June of 2022?
23, Judge.
It's not the one in August 31st of 2022? The
No.
motion to revoke, okay.
That's a prior one. Mr. Emmel had showed up late in June of 21. And then he had a fail to appear in July. And then he had a warrant issued on a failure to appear in November of 21. And he showed up extremely late and the judge withdrew the warrant. And then he has failures to appear in February of this year and June of this year on a revocation. He's actually in for revocation for running off multiple times on his
Right.
probation.
Well, if it's not the one that was filed August 24th, or August 31st, which one are you looking at? The last or most recent warrant to show cause?
His most recent warrant was filed June 2nd of 23. And it was served August 24th. No, that's the one before. That's the
Okay.
one.
Well, the June, what I'm showing for June is a failure to appear warrant.
Yes, so the warrant to show cause filed and he was arrested on back in August of 22. That's the same probation we're trying to get finished
Right.
because he's running off on the probation revocation.
Okay. All right, and that's what I understood the file to say. So way back in, Mr. Imel, way back in August, August 31st of 2022, the probation office filed a motion to revoke your probation. And then we've had, as Ms. Gillette said, multiple hearings trying to get you here. The allegations are that you failed to report on May 31st, 2022, after having been given notice mailed to you by your ISO and testing positive for amphetamines, THC, and methamphetamines on April 11th of 2022. So they're saying the first time that when you showed up by April 11th, you were positive for these drugs. You were told to be back May 16th, 2022, and you didn't. So it looks like you've kind of been on the lam, as they used to say, and that the court hasn't seen you for multiple hearings and your probation hasn't seen you. So you need to reappear before Judge Hart. You need to be here live in person at the courthouse on July 27, 2023. That is again before Judge Hart, 9 a.m., July 27, 2023. Have you had any change in your circumstances financially?
Yes, I'm gainfully employed, and I've been trying to stay clean. I know that this is an ongoing matter and I need to get it resolved. And,
So you don't need me to reappoint Richard Paul?
it probably should, yes.
Well, I shouldn't if you can afford to hire an attorney. Are you able to now that you're gainfully employed?
Not at this point, no.
Okay, you've got money to go out and hire an attorney? Is that what you're telling me?
No, not at this point. No, I don't.
I thought you said you're gainfully employed.
I am.
Where do you work?
I work for Smith Construction Services.
And what do you do for Smith Construction Services?
I remodel homes and new construction.
Are you an independent contractor or an employee of them?
I'm an employee.
And what do you get paid per month from them?
Per month, about $2,000
Do you pay rent or a mortgage?
rent,
How much do you pay per month for rent?
$750,
Okay, and are you married or single?
single,
Do you have any children that you support legally?
3.
All right. And do you have bank accounts with money sitting in them or CDs, certificate of deposits?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, I am going to reappoint Richard Paul. So contact Mr. Paul and be ready to go for your warrant to show cause, July 27, 2023 at 9 a.m. by Zoom, and you must personally be present in the courthouse. I can't say that enough. Now, Judge Hart issued the warrant and he ordered that there be no bond until you see him. So I'm not setting it bond based on Judge Hart's order. Call Mr. Paul, and if he can get you in front of Judge Hart sooner, that will be between him and the prosecutor and the judge. But those are the orders at this time, Mr. Imel.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. Ms. Gillette, anything further?
Not from the state, Judge.
Anything further, Mr. Imel?
No, ma'am.
Thank you for your time. You may go, sir. I'll remand you to the sheriff.
What date, did you say a date, Judge?
I did, July 27 at 9 a.m. And defendant must be in person at the courthouse for that hearing. Good afternoon, sir. What is your name, please?
Joseph Katzenmeyer.
Joseph Katzenmeyer, thank you. We are on the record in 2022 CR 142, State of Kansas versus Joseph Stephen Katzenmeyer. Mr. Katzenmeyer, it is alleged that you failed to appear for an arraignment before Judge Satterfield. So Judge Satterfield wants you back in front of her July 13th at 4 p.m. And that is the order of the court. You must reappear in the courthouse before Judge Satterfield, July 13th at 4 p.m. You already have court-appointed counsel, Mary Ann Shirley. Ms. Shirley will continue to be your counsel. Make sure you contact her.
Yes, ma'am.
Let her know where you are. Judge Satterfield issued the warrant, and she has also ordered that you have no bond until you see her. I will maintain that order. There will be no bond until you see Judge Satterfield July 13th at 4 p.m. If Ms. Shirley believes that she has reason for you to make a bond condition before then or appeal before then, she can do so with Ms. Gillette and Judge Satterfield. Any questions, sir?
No, ma'am.
Then you, sir, are excused. You are remanded to the custody of the sheriff.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
I can look it up if you want to know later.
Missy, is that all the gentlemen in the jail with just Miss Stubbs left?
I think we have another one.
Okay. Who did I overlook? Let's find out. Hello, sir. What is your name, please? They're at the jail.
Wayne Everly.
Wayne Everly. All right, Mr. Everly will be on the record in your case, number 2023 CR 156, State of Kansas versus Wayne E. Everly. County Attorney Jill Gillette for the state, Mr. Everly in person, in custody and pro se. Sir, you are here for first appearance on a number of charges, and I'll go over those with you, as well as the possible penalties and rights relating thereto. In count one, sir, you are charged with aggravated battery. It is alleged in this count that on or about July 9th, 2023 in Greenwood County, Kansas, you did then and there, contrary to the statutes of the state of Kansas, recklessly cause bodily harm to another person, to wit, a Corey Harris, with a deadly weapon, to wit, a lawnmower, in a manner whereby great bodily harm, disfigurement, or death could be inflicted. As charged, sir, this is a level 8 person felony, which means depending on your criminal history, if any, you were to be convicted with this charge. Your penalties could be anywhere from 7 months to 23 months in the Kansas Department of Corrections, commonly called prison, and you could be ordered to pay a fine up to $100,000. In count 2, you are charged with another count of aggravated battery that on or about July 9th, 2023 in Greenwood County, Kansas. You did then and there, contrary to the statutes of the state of Kansas, recklessly cause bodily harm to another person, to wit, Joni Harris, with a deadly weapon, to wit, a lawnmower, in a manner whereby great bodily harm, disfigurement, or death could be inflicted. This charge means that if convicted, you could serve another 7 months to 23 months in prison and pay another fine up to $100,000. In count 3, you're accused of that on that same day of July 9th, unlawfully and knowingly place another person, to wit, Caton Harris, in reasonable apprehension of immediate bodily harm with a deadly weapon, to wit, a lawnmower. This is charged as a level 7 person felony, which means in addition to the first 2 counts, if convicted, you could serve another 11 months to 34 months, and you could pay a fine up to $100,000. In count 4, you're accused of another count of aggravated assault, placing Abigail Recker in reasonable apprehension or immediate unreasonable apprehension of immediate bodily harm with a deadly weapon, to wit, a lawnmower. This is also a level 7 person felony with 11 to 34 months possible sentence and another fine of up to $100,000. In count 5, you're accused of criminal damage to property on that same date by means other than fire explosion. It is alleged that you damaged, destroyed, defaced, or substantially impaired the use of property, to wit, a mailbox and mount in which another has an interest, to wit, Corey and or Joni Harris, without the consent of such person, and the damage done was less than $100,000, making this a Class B non-person misdemeanor. If convicted, you wouldn't go to prison on this one. You would remain in the county jail there where you are now for up to 6 months and pay a fine up to $1,000. Sir, do you have any questions of me as far as what you're accused and the possible penalties I've gone over?
No,
All right, do you intend to hire an attorney or apply for court appointed?
I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody yet.
All right, well, are you able to afford to hire an attorney?
Not. I've got one coming.
Well, do you want me to ask you questions to see if you qualify for court appointed attorney?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, are you employed at this time, Mr. Everly?
Self-employed.
Self-employed, what kind of work do you do?
HVAC install.
All right, and do you have a company or is this just something you do as
Everly Appliance Service,
Everly Appliance Services? And where's that located?
Fall River.
And is that where you live as well as Fall River?
Yes,
And how much do you make on average per month?
anywhere from 3,000 to 10,000.
3,000 to 10,000 per month?
No, I don't make it a month.
Oh, okay. So on average,
Probably average about $1,000 to $2,000 a month
okay.
right now.
And do you pay rent or a mortgage?
Yep,
What do you pay for that?
$750 a month on the house payment.
Okay, then, and do you have any other income besides what you've told me about?
No,
Are you married or single?
married,
Does the wife work?
yes,
And where does she work?
Cobalt boats.
What does she make per month?
I don't know for sure.
Your best estimate per month?
$1,000.
And do you have children?
Yeah, I got 5.
Okay. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you, Mr. Everly. Now, if you want to go out and hire an attorney, if you find a way to do that, you can. But we're going to appoint an attorney, and I don't know who that'll be yet, but my assistant Missy will let you know by the end of the week. Please contact that attorney if you do not hire an attorney, and be ready to go for your next hearing. And that's going to be called a preliminary hearing control. And Missy, when will that be?
August 4th at 1:30.
August 4th at 1:30. You'll need to be back here. Now, you can appear by Zoom, but sometimes those Fall River connections are not that good. So you're always welcome to come downstairs in the courthouse and use the computer down there if you like. Because it's real important that at these hearings, we be able to see and hear each other. I don't know what it is about Fall River, but sometimes they're just not the best. But you're welcome to appear by Zoom or come to the courthouse August 4th at 1:30. Your attorney will be here by Zoom. Make sure again that you contact that attorney before that date and talk about your case. And then we need to talk about bond. How long have you been in the Fall River area?
40-some years.
And how long have you had the Everly appliance?
Same amount of time.
Okay. Now, do I recall that one of your neighbors at least is one of the alleged victims?
He's the one that you got off, or sentenced to for stealing the $3,000 out of my house that he's never paid back.
All right, so one of the alleged victims broke into your house and was convicted for that?
Yes, your prosecuting attorney is the one that got him off. Or took him, got his sentence reduced.
Got his sentence reduced, okay.
To whatever it
So,
was.
so
He
is
hasn't
that,
never paid anything anyway.
all right,
That's 3 years ago.
okay.
No restitution. Whatever you said he was supposed to do on that date that he was sentenced, nothing was ever done of what you said he was supposed to do.
Was he let off probation already?
He never had probation because of the COVID.
All right, well, that's something that a person can look into and you can talk to your attorney about, because that's not the way normally things are done, but I don't know the unique situation after it left here. I don't know. So that's a different issue though. Whatever happened in that, there are ways to follow up on that and not what's alleged here. Well, how far away does he live from you?
He lives across the street from my property now.
So if I bond you out, are you guys going to have more trouble?
Now, I've got other things I've got to do.
Is he going to be taunting you or bothering you?
Your Honor, I
I
happen to
hope
know
not.
Mr. Everly has chased this child down in a vehicle, ran him off the road, made him and his friends pull over to cuss them out, chased them from Fall River to Fredonia, Kansas. He's
No, I did
taken
not.
into his own hands multiple times to the point the parents filed or considered filing for a PFA against Mr. Everly. He's trying to do back road justice against a child. And the kid is now turned 18 and he has bought his own house.
He's
They are all
21.
because Mr. Everly is his great uncle. And they end up running into each other at family gatherings until Mr. Everly throws such a tantrum that he is asked to leave family gatherings because they can't be in the same place at the same time without him screaming and yelling. Mr. Everly needs to not be seeking backyard justice, and he needs to have no contact with this victim nor his family members.
Okay, you keep talking about this child, but you told me he's 18.
He was a juvenile at the time of the crime, and now he's an adult. And so, but he's 21 years old, 20 or 21 years old, and Mr. Everly is a gentleman of more experienced age and should know better than to try to ram into people trying to put up a mailbox with a lawnmower. He's taking into his own hands justice, and he needs to stop.
Okay, so somebody under 18, broke into his house and stole, what did he say, $3,000 that they never had to pay back? And
He
now,
claims $3,000. There was restitution ordered. There was probation ordered. He ran the kid down with his friends and told him he
No, I
couldn't
did
have
not.
hang on,
kinds of problems with Mr. Everly ever since that case occurred. And Mr. Everly tries to take things into his own hands. Every time he sees me on the street, he comes up and starts questioning me.
Okay.
He's been a pain ever since that case happened. The child has been released because he was a juvenile at the time.
but you said he's 20 or 21 now?
Uh-huh.
So that's an old case that never did get resolution?
Old case. The kid completed probation, but you can't hold someone on probation for restitution. We all know what the case law says on that.
So the kid who's now 21 never paid any restitution for the items he stole?
I'm not going to say pay any restitution. I haven't looked it up in a long time, Judge, but
Okay,
restitution ordered and there were costs ordered and he had probation and he had fees he had to pay on probation.
Okay. All right, and Mr. Everly, you're saying that you think that's at the root of what these charges are. It has something to do with that young man never paying you back? What I want to know, and I don't need you to answer anything incriminating, but what I need to know is if you guys live across the street, does he live with his parents or does he own his own property? Do you know, Miss Gillette? Because I thought I heard it both ways.
His parents, I thought, lived on the other side of a block, and I think he's moving into his own house or something near them. They all live in Fall River in the same area and have for years, years upon years upon years.
All right, so Mr. Everly, do you want to bond out?
Yeah. I've got things I need to do.
Okay, well, do you understand that if I give you a bond, I can't have you around those folks? The young man, his parents. You understand? I can't have you around them.
Yep.
And I'm
That'll be
concerned because if what you're saying is true, you got every right to be mad if he went into your house and stole stuff and didn't pay you back. But on the other hand, you can't. It's only
He's
going to
gonna
make
try
it
to put
worse.
his mailbox where my driveway is supposed to be on this piece of property. That's the other problem, and nobody ever confronted me about the situation.
Well, you probably ought to be talking to a lawyer about those kind of things. You just can't take them into your own hands. As frustrated as you may be, you're only going to make it worse if you keep trying to take it into your own hands.
All right?
I mean, you've seen that. You've been sitting in the county jail. You know what I mean, right?
Yep, I know what you mean.
Did you recommend an amount, Ms. Gillette?
I have not, Judge. I would recommend 5,000 cash surety, no contact with any of these victims.
Can you do that, Mr. Everly? Can you have no contact? If they show up at the mailbox, you don't even look, you walk away. If you see them driving down the road, you look away.
Yeah,
You sure you can control
as
yourself?
long as they can stay away from me.
Well, what if they can't? You're the one on bond, not them. What if they don't?
Well, I guess I'll have to go the other direction.
Okay. They don't taunt or torment you or anything, do they?
Oh, yes, he does.
Well,
He drives around my house quite often when he does need to go by my house. All he has to do is go north right out of town, but he has the gall to go drive around me, but that's fine.
you can ignore him.
I have ignored him up until that point of the mailbox issue. I haven't talked to the kid or been around him for over a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay. All right, well, I'm uneasy about this because I'm not sure you've calmed down yet. And I don't know if he has anything to do with it. I don't know if he totally ignores you or if he does taunt you. I don't know. But I think that there's a potential for more trouble. And if I get you out on bond, I need to know that you're not going to be a continued threat to anybody in the community and that you'll reappear for court. And I have confidence that as long as you've been in the community and run your own business, that you'll be back to court when you're supposed to.
Yeah, I'll be back.
I just don't want any more trouble with you. So I'm going to allow you to make bond in the amount of $5,000 cash or professional surety, but so only on the condition that you have no contact with this young man or are you on good terms with his parents or not?
No, his mother's one of the victims in this matter.
All right, you're to have no contact with Corey Harris. Is he the young man, Corey?
Yes,
No contact with Corey Harris. No contact with Joni Harris. Is that his mother?
yes,
No contact with Keaton Harris,
younger,
younger brother. No contact with Abigail Recker. Who is she?
friend.
Friend, okay,
That's his shack job.
okay. So stay away from all of those people. If you see him going down the street, if you see him at the gas station, you're the one on bond. They're not. You understand that?
Yep.
So if they get in your face, if they give you gestures, report, call your names, report that to the police as disorderly conduct. But don't confront them, don't react, just get away, because you're the one that will have your bond revoked.
Okay.
And like I said, I don't know if they do any of that, but I'm just telling you, if in the worst possible scenario it happens, that's how you need to react, or you're gonna be right back where you are.
Okay.
Anything else that we need to put in that bond, Ms. Gillette?
No, that's it.
And Ms. Gillette suggested that you've given her some grief out on the streets. Don't be doing that either. That is totally unacceptable. And in order that you have no contact with her outside the courtroom. All right. Anything further from you, sir, Mr. Mr. Everly? Yes, Mr. Everly? Anything further? All right. So make sure you get with Missy later this week to find out who your attorney is and be back here August 4th at 1:30. All right, thank you all. We'll be excusing Mr. Everly at this time and in recess on his case. You may go, sir.
And he's gonna take you back.
One of you want to go in there and see? Back that way.
Hello? Are you Lydia Stubbs?
Yes, I am.
All right, we're on the record in 2023 CR 135, State of Kansas versus Lydia Lucille Stubbs. Jill Gillette, County Attorney for the state, Ms. Stubbs in person and pro se. Ms. Stubbs, you're here for first appearance on a number of charges, the most serious being count 1. In that count, the state is alleging that you unlawfully possess the controlled substance. It says Vyvanse. Is that Vyvanse, Ms. Gillette?
I believe so.
That is charged as a level 5 drug felony. That means that depending on your criminal history, if you're to be convicted, your sentence could be anywhere from 10 to 42 months in the Kansas Department of Corrections, commonly known as prison, and your fine could be up to $100,000. In count 2, you're accused of unlawful possession of the controlled substance butyl pills, and that is charged as a Class A non-person misdemeanor. That means if convicted, you could serve up to 12 months in the county jail and pay a fine up to $1,000. In count 2, you're accused of unlawful possession of marijuana, a Class B misdemeanor. If convicted, you could serve another 6 months in the county jail and pay another $1,000 fine. In count 2, you're accused of unlawfully possessing a grinder, smoking pipe with residue, and pill bottles for the purpose of either storing, containing, concealing, injecting, ingesting, inhaling, or otherwise introducing a controlled substance into the human body. This is called unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. If convicted, you would be looking at another 6 months in jail and another $1,000 fine, as this also is a Class B misdemeanor. Do you have any questions, Ms. Stubbs, of what you're accused or the possible penalties we've just gone over?
No, I was just wondering if it would be possible to get a bond reduction or looking at ORing out, just because I have some responsibilities and things to help my grandmother at home.
Okay, we'll talk about that. First of all, are you going to hire an attorney or apply for court appointed?
I'm gonna have to apply.
Are you employed at this time?
No, I'm actually actively looking for work.
How long have you been unemployed?
It's been almost a year.
And you don't have any money in savings or anything like that?
Unfortunately not. I was in the process of moving.
Okay. I will appoint an attorney to represent you. I don't know who that will be, but my assistant Missy can tell you later in the week. So make sure you get with Missy and get the name and contact information for the attorney. I'm going to order that you contact that attorney before your next hearing. Missy, when is her next hearing?
August 4th at 1:30.
You must be back here by Zoom August 4th at 1:30. You must have talked to your attorney before that date and time. Now, you mentioned your bond. What's your bond set at right now?
I believe it was 15,000 just from the last bit of paperwork that I received.
Okay, and Miss, tell me where you live. You said something about your grandma?
I live in Madison, Kansas.
And did you say something about living with your grandma?
Essentially I live like across town from my grandmother, but I just help her with a lot. She's got some health conditions and things that it's difficult for her to do stuff at home. So I tend to just be nearby whenever she needs assistance and trying to kind of help her get her situation figured out.
You said you're in the process of moving. What is the status of your residence right now?
So from what I know, the majority of my things have been moved into the house. I'm just moving across town. So I lived on one side of Madison and I'm just moving into, my father passed a couple years ago and I'm moving into his house.
She's the co-defendant to William Connor and the roommate to Adam Ray, and all three of them are being evicted.
And that is the string of child pornography allegations?
Yeah, that was Mr. Ray and Mr. Connor and her had drug charges from the search warrants.
What do you have to say about bond, Ms. Gillette?
5,000 cash surety.
She doesn't have any of the pornography charges against her.
No.
All right. Your bond will be set at $5,000, cash or surety required. Conditions include that you have absolutely no contact with the co-defendants in this case, that you have no drugs, no pornography, no alcohol, or your bond will be revoked and you can continue to wear that striped outfit in that jail. Any questions about that, Ms. Stubbs?
No, ma'am.
All right, at this time, you are excused. We are in recess on your case.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, that's everyone in the jail, Missy?
Did we do Megan Beesner?
Nope, I don't think so.
She's right. She's right here.
You're Megan Beesner, is that right?
Beisner.
Beisner, thank you. We are on the record in 2022 CR 145, State of Kansas versus Megan J. Beisner. The state appears by and through County Attorney Jill Gillette. Ms. Beisner appears in person and pro se. Ms. Beisner, you're here on a warrant to show cause. It is alleged by the state that you have violated your probation. We will set that warrant to show cause hearing for September 13th, 2023 at 1:15. You are required to be here in person at the courthouse. And has your financial circumstances changed since you had Mr. Paul?
Well, I do have employment, yes. I mean, given
Okay.
I can get out of here, I mean. I
Okay,
had-
what kind of
I
work
had,
do you do?
A pet care technician.
Okay, and is that for Simmons or where do you work?
Through what now?
What company are you with?
It's through Village Pet LLC.
Okay, is that 80 or 40 hours a week?
About that, I think at 36 is what I was promised.
All right, so how long have you been there?
I was actually like on my third day before this. Before
How
I
much do you make per month?
it's like 14.50 an hour. I like, I'm telling you, I just started, so
Do
I
you,
ballpark.
Sure. Do you have rent or a mortgage to pay?
Yes.
How much do you pay for rent or mortgage?
It depends on my check.
Who do you rent from?
It's just a friend of mine. Not
Do you have
necessarily a landlord.
Do you have any savings or anything like that?
I have a checking account. That's it.
You have a substantial amount of money in that checking account?
Not at the moment, no.
Did you tell me you're married or single?
Single.
I will appoint an attorney to represent you. I'll reappoint Richard Paul, who represented you before. Make sure you contact Mr. Paul and let him know your situation.
Okay.
Your hearing will be set back before Judge Crum, September 13th, 2023. And he will hear the evidence and determine if these allegations are correct, that you failed to report as directed to your intensive supervision office, and that you failed to report on a regular basis, as well as you failed to keep him notified of your residence and employment. That'll all be heard. Okay, that'll all be heard with Mr. Paul representing you in front of Judge Crum in person at the courthouse. You must be at the courthouse September 13th, 2023 at 1:15.
Okay.
Judge Crum set your bond at 1,000 cash or professional surety required, and that will continue to be the order of the court. All right, anything else we need to address, Ms. Gillette?
Not from the state, Judge.
Anything, Ms. Beisner?
Am I able to OR so I can get back to work?
I can't give you an OR because Judge Crum, your sentencing judge, made your bond at $1,000, and I'm going to.
So that means 100 probably from.
Leave you and a bondsman.
I'm gonna have to sit here then. Okay.
All right. Well, you can call Mr. Paul and talk to him. You're excused at this time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Is that everyone at the jail? All right. Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now let's take up all the rest of you folks that have been waiting patiently. We are on the record in Bowles 2023 CR 133, State of Kansas versus Ethan Lee Bowles. State by Jill Gillette. Mr. Bowles, where are you?
At my house.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Bowles. You are here in count one. That's the gentleman in the blue sweater.
Yes, ma'am.
You're here on count one, aggravated failure to register as an offender. The state in this count is alleging that on or approximately March 2023 in Greenwood County, Kansas, you did then and there, contrary to the statutes of the state of Kansas, unlawfully failed to comply with any and all provisions of the Registration Act. To wit, you failed to register a 2014 white Jeep Compass as a vehicle that you regularly drove for more than 180 consecutive days. As charged, this is a level 6 person felony. That means that if convicted and depending on your criminal history, you could serve in prison anywhere from 17 to 46 months and pay a fine up to $100,000. In count two, the same allegations are made except for the month of April 2023. In count three, the same allegations are made except for the month of May 2023. And in count four, the same allegations are made except for the month of June 2023. Each and every one of these counts, Mr. Bowles, is a level 6 person felony. Each one of them independently and separately carries a 17 to 46 month sentence. Each one has a fine up to $100,000. Do you have any questions about what you're accused or the possible sentences, Mr. Bowles?
No, Your Honor.
And do you intend to hire an attorney or apply for court appointed?
Hire an attorney.
And you feel you're able to hire an attorney at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you decide you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can come to the courthouse, get an application, and apply for court appointed. Please do that soon. Don't wait until your hearing date to start thinking about that. Missy, when is his hearing date?
August 18th at 1:30.
You need to be here by Zoom with your attorney, August 18th at 1:30. And I'm noting that you said you're hiring an attorney, so either have an attorney or be back here and apply for court appointed if you can't hire. Any
Yes.
questions, Mr. Bowles?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you posted a $20,000 surety bond with Owens Bonding on June 21st, and I will continue that bond provided you do not violate the conditions of it, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything else, Ms. Gillette?
Can't think of anything, Judge.
Then we are in recess, and Mr. Bowles, you are excused. In other words, you may go at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll now be on the record in bond, that is 2023 FG 16, State of Kansas versus Paul Allen Bond. Jill Gillette, County Attorney for the state. Is Mr. Bond here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Bond, you are charged with one count of voting with an insufficient number of personal flotation devices for passengers on the boat. This is an unclassified misdemeanor. The maximum penalty for this could be a $500 fine. The court could also impose a maximum 30-day sentence. Now, depending on your criminal history of any, the county attorney may have a diversion program. You pay your fine and costs plus a diversion fee and whatever else they wanted you to, and then they would dismiss the charge. It's called diversion. Do you want to look into that?
Sure. Or if there's a fine I can pay, then both ways are great. Diversion sounds good though.
Okay, well, diversion could keep it off your record, but it is an unclassified misdemeanor, so it's not the most serious matter in the world, but I'll certainly give you some time to look into that. Missy,
Yeah.
when do you want to have his hearing date?
About August 18th at 11.
August 18th at 11. So please be back here by Zoom, August 18th at 11. You will need to call Miss Gillette's office. That is the Greenwood County Attorney. Her number is 620-583-8171. After you talk to her office, do what they say to do for the diversion, or if you decide you don't want to pursue diversion, you can tell me how you want to proceed August 18th, whether you want a trial, which will not be that date, but you can tell me if you want a trial and we can set one, or if you want to enter a plea, you can do it at that time as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else we can help you with, Mr. Bond?
What happens next? I guess would be my question.
Okay, next is you call the county attorney's office and talk to them about their diversion and see if you're interested in it.
Okay.
Okay, and then if you are interested, do every step. It's a multi-step ordeal, so make sure you go through every step.
Yes,
If you're
ma'am.
not interested in it, come back here August 18th and tell me if you want a trial or if you want a plea of guilty admitting it or no contest, neither admitting or denying, but you'd still be found guilty.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, anything further, Ms. Gillette?
Not from this, well, he needs to call my office right away. Don't let it drag out. Don't wait
Yes,
until for the hearing. Call today or tomorrow morning. The girls
If
will
I can
come.
do it today, I'll do it today for you.
All right, anything further from you, Mr. Bond?
No, ma'am. Thank you for your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you for yours, and you're excused. You may go at this point, and we'll be in recess. We will now be on the record in 2019 CR 172, State of Kansas versus Dontel Michael Bradley. The state by Jill Gillette. Dontel Bradley, are you here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where are you, please? Are you the one with the orange cap?
Yes.
All right, kind of out of focus there. Mr. Bradley, it looks like you're here on a warrant to show cause. The state is alleging that you failed to report to your court service officer as directed, failed to pay all your fines and costs, failed to report all changes in address, phone or employment, or contact with law enforcement. So Judge Hart wants to have you back in front of him July 27 at 9 a.m. You must be at the Greenwood County Courthouse in person. Are you writing that down?
Yes, ma'am.
Live and in person at the Greenwood County Courthouse, July 27, 9 a.m. before the Honorable Charles M. Hart. And are you going to hire an attorney or reapply for Mr. Paul?
Reapply.
Are you employed at this time?
No, ma'am.
How long have you been unemployed?
Just a couple months. I just got out of Montgomery County Jail, so.
Oh, okay. You don't have any money available to hire an attorney?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I will reappoint Richard Paul. Do you know how to get a hold of him?
Yes, ma'am. I have his number.
All right, call Mr. Paul, tell him you've got court again July 27 at 9 before Judge Hart.
Okay.
And you did post the $2,500 professional surety bond ordered by Judge Hart. You did so June 13th, and I will continue that bond. Anything further from either party? Okay, then you may go, sir. We'll be in recess.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll now be on the record in 2023 CR 126, State of Kansas versus Antoine Jarrell Collins. The state appears by and through Jill Gillette. Mr. Collins, are you here? I'm looking for Anton Collins or Antoine Collins. No, Mr. Collins, are you by chance, Mr. Collins, there at Antoine's phone?
Yes,
All right.
my phone keeps acting up.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll get through this hearing. I know you've been patiently on this hearing for quite a while. State appears by and through Jill Gillette, County Attorney. Mr. Collins appears in person and pro se. Mr. Collins, it looks like this is your first appearance. On count one, you're accused of unlawful distribution of a controlled substance. In this charge, the state's alleging that on June 18th, 2023 in Greenwood County, Kansas, you unlawfully and knowingly possessed the controlled substance marijuana or THC in an amount less than 25 grams with the intent to distribute such. As charged, this is a level 4 drug felony. That means that depending on your criminal history, you could serve between 14 and 51 months in the Kansas Department of Corrections, commonly known as prison, and you could pay a fine up to $300,000. In count two, you're accused of unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia with the intent to cultivate. The state alleges here that on or about April 17th, 2023, you did use or possess with the intent to use drug paraphernalia to manufacture, cultivate, plant, propagate, or harvest, test, analyze, or distribute a controlled substance, to wit, marijuana, seeds, individual packing baggies being the paraphernalia. This is charged as a level 5 drug felony, which means if convicted, your fine could be up to $100,000 and your sentence could be anywhere from 10 to 42 months. In count 3, sir, you're charged with defacing identification marks of a firearm. The state here alleges that on April 17th of 2023, you did unlawfully deface identification marks of a firearm intentionally to change, alter, remove, or obliterate the name. As charged, this is a level 10 non-person felony. The fine could be up to $100,000. The sentence could be 5 to 13 months in prison. Do you have any questions, Mr. Collins, about what you're accused of, the possible consequences?
No, not necessarily.
All right, and do you intend to hire an attorney or apply for court appointed?
Yes, hire an attorney.
Okay, and you feel you're able to hire an attorney on your own?
Yeah, I have some help. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you decide you want to apply for a court-appointed attorney and that you need to, please make sure you get with the district court, my office, and get that application in as soon as possible. Please don't wait until your court date. And Missy's going to give that to us right now. Missy, is next court date?
August 18th at 1:30.
August 18th at 1:30. You will need to reappear by Zoom with your attorney. That's August 18th at 1:30.
Okay.
And again, if you need to hire an attorney, don't wait. Do it sooner so you can talk to that attorney and be prepared for your court date. At this time, your bond has been set at $15,000. You posted that through professional surety with Collins Bell Bond on June 19th of 23, and I will continue that bond at this time, sir.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Have you any questions or anything I can help you with before I let you go?
Not necessarily, no.
Well, if you do, I'll be happy to try to address it.
Okay.
Ms. Gillette, anything further?
I can't think of anything, Judge.
All right, then you are excused at this time, sir. You may go.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Well, you too. You're welcome. All right, we'll now be on the record in 2023 FG 15, State of Kansas versus Robert W. French. The state appears by and through County Attorney Jill Gillette. Robert French, are you here? Looking for Robert French. Okay.
He's right here at the courthouse.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. French. We are, as I said, on the record in 23 FG 15. Mr. French is now here in person in pro se. Mr. French, you have one count alleging that you are operating a motor vehicle with someone 12 and under having no personal flotation device, an unclassified or C misdemeanor, penalties being up to $500 and up to 30 days. As I told someone in your position a while ago, the state does have a diversion program. Did you hear me talk about that?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Are you interested in looking into that diversion?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I will enter a not guilty plea to give you time to do that. I will reset your hearing, and Missy, when will that be?
August 18th at 9.
All right, August 18th at 9.
Yes.
So, Mr. French, you'll need to be back here August 18th at 9 a.m. unless that diversion is granted. Now, you can appear by Zoom, but if your diversion is granted, Ms. Gillette may tell you that you do not have to reappear. But unless, it's a process, you apply, which you could do today before you even leave the building. Just go to her office down the hall. The officer will direct you and you can get your application and get started. Now, once you turn in your application, she'll need to send you approval if you're granted, and then you'll need to sign the approval contract and send that back. But they'll explain all of that to you at the office, tell me. What you need to remember right now is August 18th at 9 a.m. and head to the county attorney's office to apply for diversion, or at least check into it to see if you want to apply. I'm not going to set any bonds because this is a lower level misdemeanor and the law does not require me to. So unless you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, you're free to go. Thank you, sir. Is Mr. Jean here? G-E-A-N, is that Jean? Did I pronounce your last name right? Is it Jean like it looks?
Yes, Gene.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, we're here on the record in 2023 CR 120, State of Kansas versus Garen Michael Jean, County Attorney Jill Gillette for the state, Mr. Jean in person and pro se. Mr. Jean, this is your first appearance, and in count one, the state is alleging that on or about May 27, 2023 in Greenwood County, Kansas, you did unlawfully knowingly possess any opiates, opium, or narcotic drugs, to wit 5 fentanyl tablets. As charged, this is a level 5 drug felony, which means depending on your criminal history, if any, if you were to be convicted, you could serve anywhere from 10 to 42 months in prison and pay a fine up to $100,000. In count 2, you're charged with unlawful possession of a controlled substance, Xanax tablets, on that same day and time. This again is another level 5 drug felony. If convicted, you could serve another 10 to 42 months in prison and pay another fine up to $100,000. In count 3, you're accused of driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs after a prior conviction. The prior conviction elevates this to a Class A non-person misdemeanor. That means that if you are convicted for unlawfully and knowingly operating or attempting to operate a vehicle while under the influence of any combination of alcohol or drugs to a degree that renders you incapable of safely driving, with the prior conviction in Allen County, you could serve up to 90 days in jail and you could you could serve up to a year in the county jail. The court would have to order that you serve at least 90 days, and you could not be given probation until after 5 days are served. So it's a mandatory must serve at least 5 days, if not more, up to a year. You also would have to be ordered to pay a fine anywhere from $1,250 up to $1,750. In count 4, you're accused of unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. They are alleging, the state is, that you possessed tinfoil with the purpose to either store, contain, conceal, inject, ingest, inhale, or otherwise introduce a controlled substance into the human body. This is called unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. It is a Class B non-person misdemeanor. If convicted, you could serve up to 6 months in jail and pay a $1,000 fine. In count 5, you're accused of operating a motor vehicle on a highway or roadway open to the public in Greenwood County, Kansas on May 27, 2023, at a time which you did not have proof of liability insurance on said vehicle, and that you had a prior conviction for driving without insurance within the past 3 years in Allen County, Kansas. If convicted, this is a Class A misdemeanor with a minimum fine of $800 up to $2,500 and a jail sentence up to 1 year in the county jail. In count 6, you're accused of a registration and title offense, but on that same date and time, you did unlawfully operate a vehicle which was not registered or did not have a valid tag. This is a misdemeanor. It's unclassified, but it has penalties of fines anywhere from $50 to $2,500 and a sentence possible of 30 days up to 6 months in jail. Do you have any questions, Mr. Jean, about the charges or the penalties I've just gone over?
Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
No.
Okay. Are you going to hire an attorney or apply for court appointed?
Apply for court appointed.
Did you get an application and turn it in by chance?
No, I have not.
All right, where do you work?
Right now I do not have a job.
How long have you been unemployed?
Since May 26th.
And what kind of work did you do up until then?
I was a tire technician.
You have no income now at all?
No, not at the moment.
You don't have any money set aside anywhere?
No.
Are you married?
Yes.
Okay, and where does your wife work or spouse?
She runs her own daycare.
Daycare? And what does she make per month?
I'm not sure. She just started it.
All right, and do you pay a rent or mortgage payment?
No.
All right, I'm going to appoint an attorney. I do not know who that will be. So please check back later in this week with my assistant, Missy, and she can tell you who the attorney is and how to reach the attorney. And I want you to do that. Actually contact the attorney before your next hearing date. And Missy, when is it?
August 18th at 1:30.
You must be back here August 18th at 1:30. You can appear by Zoom as long as I can see and hear you, and you can see and hear me without any big problem. So you have your hearing date, you're going to get your attorney, and it looks like you're on a $20,000 cash or surety bond with Rick Lauber or Luber. That will continue provided you do not violate the terms of that bond, sir. Is there anything else I can help you with before you leave today?
No, ma'am.
All right, then you are free to go. And we are in recess on your case. We're now on the record in Hedges, case number 23 TR 157, State of Kansas versus Melissa M. Hedges. Ms. Jill Gillette, Butler, Greenwood County Attorney, appears for the state. Melissa Hedges appears in person and pro se. Ms. Hedges, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. You are charged with count 1, speeding 78 miles per hour in a 65 mile per hour zone. This is a traffic infraction, so it does not carry jail time. There's a scheduled fine of $63. In count 2, you're accused of operating a motor vehicle with a child passenger who was not restrained in a child passenger safety system or seatbelt. This is a $60 fine as a misdemeanor, but no jail time, a $60 fine. And then court costs of $108. So if you were to be found guilty of both these charges, the total would be $223. Since you're in court today, is that an indication that you want a trial or you want time to look into diversion? How do you want to proceed?
Well, Your Honor, I was driving my boyfriend's car. It was the first time I'd ever driven it. And one, I didn't know that the speedometer was off. And two, his granddaughter was the one we got the ticket for. She's almost as tall as I am. And she's literally the same height as her older brother. And he was also with us, and we didn't get a ticket for him, but we did for her. So we didn't know that she had to have a car seat because her mom didn't give us one. So I mean, she's almost as tall as I am. So I don't understand how she needs a car seat when she's almost as tall as I am.
Well, do you want to set the matter for trial then?
Yes, if, because right now my license is suspended on waiting to get through with this. And I would like to be able to get my license back so I can find work where we just moved.
So how did your license get suspended because of this?
She was
I guess
here May. She was
Okay.
here May 9th at 1:15. She was not here. It was a speeding and no seat belt. Her license was suspended. They sent her a notification from the Kansas Centralized Court Painter. And there's a check marked journal entry where she checked no contest and signed her name and sent it back to them.
Yeah.
Where she pled on this ticket.
So why is she on this docket then if she's pled?
I have no idea.
They told me to come up here.
Who told you to? Who told you to, Ms. Hedges?
Your courthouse. Because I never received anything back from that, telling, say what I needed to get done. And then so I called up there and they said, well, I just needed to be on the first appearance.
Okay. So who in the courthouse said you needed to be here at first appearance?
Whoever answers the phone, I guess.
Which office? There's a lot of offices. There are a lot of offices in this building. Which one do you think?
I have the paper with the number on it that I called. 1 second. Grab
Oh,
it.
she's
Sorry.
looking for that. Missy, did you talk to her?
I don't think so.
Okay, so Ms. Gillette, she paid the fines and costs and was found guilty.
She sent in a plea of no contest and signed the plea of no contest and sent it back to the court. It was filed June 8th of 23. And she was given notification that if she was suspended, there may be an additional $122 reinstatement fee. But after that plea, there were no court costs, fees, costs assigned to the case.
Yeah.
Okay, so she didn't send a check with her no.
No, because I didn't have any court costs or no fines. That it never said anything about costs. It asked me if I was guilty or not guilty. And I went ahead and marked guilty for the speeding because, I mean, I should have asked him if the speedometer ran. I get that.
Okay,
But,
give me just a moment. I have the
Okay.
clerk here and I'll see what she has to tell me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, that'll work. All right, back on the record, the State versus Hedges. And I think the clerk has pretty well cleared up my confusion and is pretty much what she said is consistent with what Ms. Gillette said. Okay, Ms. Hedges, you sent in your ticket that would have found you guilty, but when it went up to administration in Topeka, you didn't have a payment with it.
Okay.
So we need to decide how you want to proceed. Do you want to proceed with a no contest plea on these charges? Or do you want to set them for trial? Or
It's
do you-
only,
I just
apologize,
need to
Samantha,
know,
go
I
ahead.
just need to know how you want to proceed. You can plead not guilty and we'll set it for trial at a later date. And the burden's on the state at trial to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you did or did not commit these violations. Or you can plead guilty, admitting you did it, and you'd be found guilty. I'd assess your fines and costs and you could pay them and have it over with. Or you could continue with the no contest plea that you put on your ticket when you turned it in. But you'd still need to pay the fines and costs to make this all go away and get your license reinstated. So,
okay, so regardless, if I don't pay it now, my license won't be reinstated until after trial, correct?
correct. I think you've got that right.
Well, I gotta have my license, so I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and scream and yell at them later.
Okay.
But yeah,
So you want to enter a no contest plea?
whichever one gets it done faster. before I
Well,
get the
no
fine.
contest means you don't want to admit it, but you don't want to deny it. You don't want a trial. You just want to
That's fine.
resolve it. Is that what you want to do? I don't want to, I don't want to do it for you. I want to accept what you
No,
want.
yes, that's fine. Yes.
Okay. Is anyone making you give up your right to trial and enter this plea today?
Nope, no.
And you know that if I accept this plea, you won't be able to appeal your conviction,
Yes.
that you will be found most likely guilty.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Gillette, are you offering as a factual basis the affidavit on the ticket of L. Wagner?
Yes, Master Trooper Luke Wagner issued the ticket at US Highway 400 at mile marker 337. For the defendant driving a 2003 Chevy Suburban, being stopped for 68 and a 65, and then being a child passenger safety restraint system ticket.
I will accept the defendant's no contest plea and the defendant on the state's factual basis to support that plea, finding the defendant guilty. Ms. Hedges, the scheduled fine for speeding is $63. The scheduled fine for the child passenger restraint is $60. So that's 63 and 60 plus court costs of 108 for a total due of 223. Are you able to pay that today?
No, my fiance, he's at work right now, so I will have to get with him tonight. Right
Okay.
now, I'm not working.
I'm going to give you 30 days to get this paid. If you don't pay it, your license is going to get another suspension added to it.
Oh, don't worry, it'll be paid quick.
All right. And you can either pay it at the Greenwood County Courthouse at 311 North Main, in person or by mail, or you can pay online. Do you want that address?
Yes, please. Look right.
Tell me when you're ready to write it down.
Sorry.
Okay, it's paykscourts.com. So PAYKS courts, COURTS.com.
Got it. Thank you.
And you're welcome, and they'll want your case number, GW for Greenwood dash 2023 for the year, dash TR for traffic, dash 157.
Okay.
All right, and that total again is $223.
Okay.
There's nothing,
And,
oh, yes?
as soon as I pay that, I'll get my reinstatement fee or paper. Is that correct?
It's not automatic. In fact, they may make you come to court and pay oh, those are hefty reinstatement fees. They're about $120 each count.
Yeah.
So you may have to come back and pay $240 to get it reinstated. And again, it's not automatic. After you make the payments, you still have to apply through the department in Topeka to get it back. And don't drive until you have something in your hands.
No, I don't. No. We got the bus for, I live in Wichita, so there's the Low City bus. Yeah, no, I just got my license back. I'm not jeopardizing that again, so.
Okay, all right. Good luck to you, and if there's nothing further, we'll be in recess and you may go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll now be on the record in 2023 CR 150, State of Kansas versus Ray LaShawn Iverson. Jill Gillette appearing for the state. Is Mr. Iverson present?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, which one is Mr. Iverson?
Right here in the green turquoise shirt with the kitchen
that
background.
I was gonna say, that looks more blue to me, but I get, turquoise is a hard color for me. Is it blue?
Oh, yeah, you know how they go.
All right, so on the record, State of Kansas versus Ray LaShawn Iverson with Jill Gillette for the state. Mr. Iverson present in person and pro se, case number 2023 CR 150. Okay, let's see. You are here, sir. It looks like on first appearance, and in
Yes,
count
ma'am.
one, the state is alleging unlawful possession of a controlled substance that on or about June 21st, 2023 in Greenwood County, Kansas, you unlawfully possessed methamphetamine, a level 5 drug felony with a possible sentence of 10 to 42 months and a fine of $100,000. In count two, unlawful possession of marijuana, a class B non-person misdemeanor. Sentence could be up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine.
Excuse me, man. What was the, I don't mean to interrupt you, but what was the first? Because I just got caught with marijuana.
Well, count one says methamphetamine, which
No,
is
ma'am.
a level 5 drug felony, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
And then, so count two is marijuana misdemeanor. Count three, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia, alleging plastic bottle and zigzag papers were possessed with the intent to store, contain, conceal, inject, ingest, inhale, or otherwise introduce a controlled substance into the body. Another B misdemeanor with a sentence up to 6 months and a $1,000 fine. Then we have count four, driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs after Miss Gillette, could you take a look at count 4? Is that a second offense or is the title says driving under the influence, alcohol or drugs second, but the penalty says class B and the wording says nothing about a prior. So are we looking at an A or a B?
I have no prior to DUI nor DW. I've never been charged
Okay.
with neither.
Well, I think maybe that's just a typo that somebody didn't delete the word second offense.
It's a typo, Judge. Second offense should have been deleted. All the penalties and the allegation being first is correct.
Okay. This says charged is a class B non-person misdemeanor. If convicted, you could be looking at up to 6 months in jail and a fine of $750 minimum up to $1,000. Specifically, that charge alleges that you did unlawfully and knowingly operate or attempt to operate a vehicle while under the influence of any combination of drugs to a degree that rendered you incapable of safely driving. Count 5 alleges speeding 70 miles per hour in a 50 mile per hour zone. This is an infraction with no jail time, but it does have a scheduled fine of $105 plus 108 in court costs for a total of $213. Now, do you intend, sir, to hire an attorney or apply for court appointed?
Well, I probably wouldn't do for court appointed because I'm employed right now.
You're employed right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, if you want to hire an attorney or check into that, I'll give you time. But as I told someone before, if you get out there and find out that they're more expensive than you anticipated and that you don't have as much reserve to pay them as you thought, then you can contact the courthouse and apply for court appointed, but do that soon as possible. Don't wait. And Missy, when's his next court date?
August 18th at 1:30.
So you'll need to be back here with your attorney by Zoom, August 18th at 1:30.
Well, the bail bondsman asked, could I get an additional 30 days, maybe 60, and I probably could have everything, but I know I couldn't have it in 30 because I got a teenage daughter that just started at community college, so I've been taking care of that, plus the grandbaby that she had when she was in the 11th grade, so by
Okay,
me getting bailed out up there and then coming home, and I drive trucks over the road, so we're really on a pay schedule where if I don't go out, I don't get paid. So I'm kind of in a bind. So if I could get a additional 30 days, maybe.
sure.
60
Missy, what do we have
altogether.
about? Let's put it out about 60 days because Miss Gillette's going to need time to get her lab reports back.
Okay.
September 15th at
Yes, ma'am. That
1:30.
would be fine.
All right, September 15th at 1:30. Be back here with your attorney. Again, if you find out you need to apply for court appointed, we can sure do that online or by mail, either one. Where do you
Yes,
live?
ma'am. Monroe, Louisiana.
Louisiana. Yeah, we can do that online. So,
Okay.
all right, so we've got your court date, September 15th at 1:30. You're going to get your own attorney, and you've made professional surety bond on June 21st through Owens Bell Bonding, so I will continue that. Is there anything else, sir, that we need to address while you're here?
Well, no, ma'am. I just want to appreciate the courtesy from you and the city attorney. I just appreciate y'all working with me and whatever we need to do to try to put this behind me. And like I said, I'm not a everyday criminal, just got caught in a bad situation, ma'am.
Okay, well, we appreciate your courtesy as well. Ms. Gillette, anything else we need to take up?
I can't think of anything, Judge.
All right, and we'll be in recess, and hard to call you Mr. Hedges, that was the lady before you, but Mr. Iverson, you're excused at this time.
Yes, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Powell, are you here? No, Nowell. Mr. Nowell, are you here?
That's me.
Am I pronouncing it right? It is Nowell? Noel? All right, we are on the record in 2023 TR 163, State of Kansas versus Ethan P. Noel. Mr. Knoll appears in person and pro se. The state is represented by Jill Gillette, County Attorney. Mr. Knoll, it looks like you were picked up on a failure to appear warrant. Your attorney Shannon Cooper was here for you at the last court date, but you were not. Why did you not appear?
I didn't put the date down in any of my notes or on a card or anything like that. So it was just, yeah, I wasn't trying to disregard missing court or anything like that. And I just, if I would have had the time and date wrote down or memorized or something, I could have figured that out and got that done. But I posted bond and I'm here to make sure that that don't happen again.
All right, Missy, when do you want him to come back?
August 18th at 10.
You be back here by Zoom, August 18th at 10. August 18th at 10. Before that date, you contact your attorney. Missy, can you handle that, please? You contact your attorney, Shannon Cooper. She has a card there somewhere nearby. Get that, call her and be prepared to go on this, leaving the scene of the accident with damage. Any questions?
Just so I got it right, 8/18/23 at 10.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You may go at this time. On the record in 2023 TR 622, State of Kansas versus Stephen R. Richards. Jill Gillette appearing for the state as county attorney. Mr. Richards, you've waited this whole time on speeding 63 and a 50, which is a traffic infraction. It does not carry jail time. There is a scheduled fine of $126 plus court costs of $108, which means if you were to be convicted, your fine would be, or your total due would be $234. Are you wanting a trial on this, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Very well. Missy, when will his bench trial be?
Let's get this September 15th at 11.
Your bench trial, sir, will be September 15th at 11. That will be by Zoom. Are you available then?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And the state will need to subpoena any witnesses they intend to call. If you need to subpoena witnesses, you can do that through the clerk of the district court. If you have any photographs, anything like that, since we're appearing by Zoom, please get those to my office about a week before with copies to the county attorney.
Yes, ma'am. I do have pictures of the work zone being inappropriately displayed. So how do I get those to you?
Where do you live?
I live in Wichita.
Wichita, you can probably just stick those in the mail or you can email them.
Okay, I'm ready to copy an email address.
Okay, Missy, can you just send him your email? You've got, or do you have his?
Actually, I do have your email because I think you got this Zoom link through email, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will just, that's the email that you send it to. The email that you got the Zoom link from.
And then Missy, if you can send the copies to the county attorney. And if you want copies of their evidence, you need to file a document, a demand for discovery or request for discovery, and give a copy to the county attorney and they can get you that.
I understand. And I apologize, Judge. I haven't been in a traffic situation in 35 years. And so this is all rather new to me. So
now, another thing, I don't know if, does he look like he might qualify for diversion, Ms. Gillette? Is that something he might want to look into? You do have to qualify for that based on your record, which sounds like it's clear, and then whatever else she has to look at there.
He has a valid non-commercial driving license with no history, so he would be eligible for a diversion if he's interested.
Okay, that means that if you pay a fine and costs and do whatever they say, diversion fee, they'll dismiss the ticket. Do you want to take down their number and maybe check into that?
Yes, ma'am, I will take down that number, please.
All right, that's the Greenwood County Attorney, who is Miss Jill Gillette there, and her number is 620-583-8171.
Got it. I have that written down. Thank you,
All
Judge.
right, thank you. Okay, you're excused to go, sir, and I see one more person on my screen that I don't recognize. It says Bierbauer.
Judge, if you refresh your screen, she'll be at the bottom. Today was the date on her bond sheet, but the hearing didn't get put in Odyssey. So we didn't know till she showed up that she had a hearing today.
All right. You say she's at the very bottom? There she is. Okay, we'll be on the record now in 2023 CR 83, State of Kansas versus Jessica Lynn Bierbauer. County Attorney Jill Gillette appearing for the state. Ms. Bierbauer appearing in person and pro se. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You are here on one count. It is called giving a worthless check. In that count, the state alleges that on or about the 10th day of March, 2023 in Greenwood County, Kansas, you did then and there, contrary to the statutes of the state of Kansas, unlawfully and knowingly make, draw, issue, or deliver a check signed Jessica L. Bierbauer, drawn on the Wells Fargo Bank, account number 847716409, check number 118, dated 3/10/23, payable to Grand W Foods, and the
That's-
amount.
And W Foods, Judge.
Okay. It actually says Gand without the arm. They ran together. Okay, thank you. Well, I wondered about that. I wasn't familiar with that facility. Payable to G&W Foods in the amount of $60.69 with the intent to defraud and knowing at the time the making, drawing, issuing, and delivery such check that the maker or drawer had no deposits in or credits with said bank, or had not sufficient funds in or credits with said bank for payment of the check in full upon presentation. All right, that is charged as a Class A non-person misdemeanor. If you were to be convicted, you could serve at the most a year in the county jail and pay at the most a $2,500 fine. In addition to the amount of the check and restitution, there's some fees that the statute authorizes. So do you have any questions at this time about what they're saying you did and the possible penalties?
No, ma'am.
All right, and do you want to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, represent yourself, maybe apply for diversion?
Can I apply for a court appointed attorney?
You can do that. Are you employed?
No, ma'am.
How long have you been unemployed?
Probably about 1.5 years.
And are you married or single?
Single.
You don't have any income?
No, I'm recently divorced, actually. I'm supposed to be receiving child support, but he hasn't made any payments.
I'll appoint attorney Shannon Cooper. And
Okay.
Can you take down her number?
Yes, ma'am. Let me just grab a pen real quick. Okay, what's that number?
316. Oh, shoot. Missy, you're gonna have to give it to her probably. Oh, I do.
316.
Go ahead.
316-833-1154.
316-833-1154?
Yes,
Okay, perfect.
And when do you want them to come back missing?
August 8th at 3:30.
Okay, I got it down.
All right, now you call Mr. Cooper and talk to her first about that. Be back here by Zoom, August 8th at 3:30.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. You may go at this time. All right, Ms. Missy, does that cover everything? Everyone?
Finally, I think so.
All right. Ms. Gillette, do you have anything further?
I don't think so, Judge. And I don't think we have 3:30 docket, so I guess this is it.
Very good. Thank you, ladies. We'll be adjourned.